365 Days of Love and Miracles with the Course in Miracles. My name is Arlene Geres, and I am so glad that you are here. Please remember to listen right until the very end, because we have a special treat for you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe down below, because this helps others to find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number 257. Let me remember what my purpose is. This is our 7th lesson under the section, What is Sin? We are meant to read this section before we read today's lesson, so let's do that now. Sin is insanity. It is the means by which the mind is driven mad and seeks to let illusions take the place of truth. And being mad, it sees illusions where the truth should be and where it really is. Sin gave the body eyes for what is there the sinless would behold. What need have they of sights or sounds or touch? What would they hear or reach to grasp? What would they sense at all? To sense is not to know, and truth can be but filled with knowledge and with nothing else. The body is the instrument the mind made in its efforts to deceive itself. Its purpose is to strive. Yet can the goal of striving change, and now the body serves a different aim for striving. What it seeks for now is chosen by the aim the mind has taken as replacement for the goal of self-deception. Truth can be its aim as well as lies. The senses then will seek instead for witnesses to what is true. Sin is the home of all illusions, which but stand for things imagined, issuing from thoughts that are untrue. They are the proof that what has no reality is real. Sin proves God's Son is evil. Timelessness must have an end. Eternal life must die. And God himself has lost the Son he loves with but corruption to complete himself. His will forever overcome by death, love slain by hate, and peace to be no more. A madman's dreams are frightening, and sin appears indeed to terrify. And yet, what sin perceives is but a childish game. The Son of God may play he has become a body, prey to evil and to guilt, with but a little life that ends in death. But all the while his Father shines on him and loves him with an everlasting love, which his pretenses cannot change at all. How long, O Son of God, will you maintain the game of sin? Shall we not put away these sharp-edged children's toys? How soon will you be ready to come home? Perhaps today? There is no sin. Creation is unchanged. Would you still hold return to heaven back? How long, O Holy Son of God? How long? Let's talk about it. What sharp-edged toys are you playing with? What thoughts of sin are still holding you back? Maybe you still have some guilt. Maybe you're holding on to things that you thought you did wrong. Maybe you have this deep sense of shame that you are wrong. You were born defective. You're the only person in this world who is not welcome with God. Whatever is holding you back, whatever sharp-edged children's toys you're playing with, write it all down. Share it with a trusted friend. Ask God to take these burdens from you. He will. He loves every one of us. He wants to take these burdens. And when we let go of these burdens, we have empty hands, and only God's love will fill those hands. We can take that love, we can take it into our hearts and accept that every single one of us are God's beautiful, beloved children. Let's read lesson 257. Let me remember what my purpose is. If I forget my goal, I can be but confused, unsure of what I am, and thus conflicted in my actions. No one can serve contradicting goals and serve them well, nor can he function without deep distress and great depression. Let us therefore be determined to remember what we want today, that we may unify our thoughts and actions meaningfully and achieve only what God would have us do this day. Let's talk about it. Yesterday we were told that God is the only goal I have today. Any time that we forget that, maybe we wake up in the morning, we think about all the things that we have to do for that day, we jump out of bed, we grab our cup of coffee, maybe we listen to the news, we check our social media, we get caught up in the goals of the world. We're thinking 10 steps ahead of ourselves, rushing there in our minds. This is not God's goal. We are forgetting that God is our only goal. And today is a reminder in which we want to remember that our purpose is God and only God. When we forget, we are going to be confused. Remember, we cannot be in two places at the same time. We're either thinking with the mind of the ego or we're thinking with the mind of God. We cannot do both at the same time. When we're caught up in the thinking of the ego, there is a part of us that knows that we're off track. We know that this road we're heading down is not the road of God, it's not the road of love. We're going to feel conflicted. We're going to be upset. We're going to be distressed. We're going to be anxious. We're going to be depressed. The only way that we're going to experience peace and serenity is when we remember that God is our only goal. Let us remember what our purpose is all day long, every day. I need this lesson today. One of my greatest challenges is staying focused on what I'm doing right here, right now. Being in the moment, thinking thoughts of God. When I was making my breakfast this morning, I was thinking, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to, on and on and on it goes. When I do that, I don't feel good, I don't feel peaceful, I don't feel happy, but I recognize it very quickly. I say to myself, be here now, be here now. Let me remember what my purpose is. When I do that, I can see God in the fruit that I'm chopping up for my breakfast. I can see God in the yogurt that I'm mixing it with. I can see God in my bowl. I can see God in my kitchen. I can see God everywhere I look. It brings tears to my eyes to think that I lived most of my life before I discovered a spiritual path, always caught up in fear, worry, and anxiety. I'm so grateful that I don't have to live that way anymore. If you would like to close your eyes, I'll read today's prayer. Father, forgiveness is your chosen means for our salvation. Let us not forget today that we can have no will but yours, and thus our purpose must be yours as well, if we would reach the peace you will for us. Let's talk about it. Don't you love how the Course sneaks forgiveness into so many of these lessons? If we are holding a grudge of any kind towards ourselves or towards another person, place, thing, or situation, this is a clear sign that we are not thinking with the mind of God. We are caught up in the thinking of the ego. The good thing about it is when we recognize it, we can stop, we can bring ourselves back. If we need to write about it in our journal, let's do that. Share it with a trusted friend. Ask God to lift this resentment from us. Ask God to bring us back to a place of peace. Ask God to help us clear the channel to His love so that we're able to fully receive God's love and share it with everyone we meet. Forgiveness is God's chosen means for our salvation. When we practice forgiveness, we come home to accepting that we are one with God and all of creation. Let's talk about our practice sessions for today. First thing in the morning, last thing just before we go to sleep, we are asked to read or listen to today's lesson and then sit in silent meditation for as long as we please. The longer we sit, the more we thirst for spending this time with God. For our hourly practice sessions, often in between, and especially when we're upset for any reason at all, we simply state the idea for today. Let me remember what my purpose is, and then we take a minute or two to simply allow this idea to sift deep into our beings. Let us always remember that our purpose is God. Our purpose is to keep the channel open to God's love. Our purpose is to share this love freely in the world. Thanks so much for listening right until the end, my friends. If you enjoyed today's video, please share the love. Tell someone about this video. Encourage them to start at lesson 1 and only do 1 lesson a day. Are you ready for our special treat? And here we are back at the Amalfi Coast. Let's enjoy this beautiful scenery one last time.
Vedi Stefano che era assente con lo sguardo. E Marco ci guardavamo e facevamo, ma chi è partito? Come facciamo? Come non facciamo? Io vado vicino a Linda. Ciao, scusa, ma io ti conosco, ma dove sei? mi sono conosciuto. Io sono di massa. Ah, davvero? Pure io sono di massa. Ah, e come ti chiami? Mi chiamo Linda, piacere, io sono Anna. Ah, quanti anni avevi?
Let me remember what my purpose is. Have a day of receiving and sharing God's love everywhere you go today, my friends. I love you.